Hi everybody. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to teach you how to take those 5 frames I spoke about in the previous videos and see how we implement them on some passages, right? The important thing to remember is that, like we do structural analysis and we break things down to different components, I think we can aptly say that we can analyze any passage technically, see what kind of motions can help and what motions are not going to help play the passage more successfully. I think the more you apply the same routine to different passages, the faster you're going to learn what works and what doesn't work. Yeah, so let's recap quickly. Elbow motion. Yeah, I think I need to move it. No, I'm not going to move the camera. So, elbow motion, rotation, keep the fingers open, release the fingers, and the speed of attack, how fast we're going to move in and out of the keys. In the background you're hearing the buses of New York City. I apologize. So yeah, so we take those 5 frames, those 5 elements, we apply them to a passage, we see what happens, if they're helping us or not helping us, okay? So I'm going to take a second, move the camera, and I'll see you on the other end. Okay, I'm back. So now you can see the keyboard, you can see my hand. What we're going to do is the opening to a Mozart Sonata, G major, K283. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the elbow motion. So elbow motion, first 3 notes. I'm going to do this in slow motion. See, I'm going, here's the half circle, coming back up. Then there's a rest. So sort of a down, up. I'm going up. And the reason why I chose to show it is because it's so beautiful. The elbow motion here really brings forth the fluidity and the elasticity of this beautiful vocal line, this beautiful melody. Now, if I didn't do any of that, see, it automatically kills the phrase. So I think this is a great example to show the elasticity of that elbow motion, helping us to make the music much more expressive. In the left hand, it's going to be so. Now I'm obviously exaggerating it in fast tempo. You don't see that much of the circular motion. It's just a really tiny little adjustment. So that's the elbow motion. That's it. We're now going to look at rotation, the second element. The first one is going to be passive, pinkies at the end, drop the weight, active, and back, passive. So passive, active, passive. Now why is that important? Because I don't want to start with an accent, so I'm just going to gently roll the weight, pass it. It's a fast note, it's a 16th note, so very light, a little bit, and then return back. With the elbow motion, now the thumb is going to be an active motion, down, and this is going to be a passive motion. See how much control I have just because I'm manipulating the weight in really specific ways. Now I'm going to switch to the upper note, same motion, passive, active, passive, active, passive. Beautiful buses, beautiful traffic in New York City today. So yeah, so that's the basic rotation motion. In the left hand, it's much more subtle, much smaller motion. Passive on the pinky, active, active, passive, active. Very tiny little motions of shifting the weight, and together it looks like this. And of course, if I practice it could be better. I just have to control the amounts. Open fingers in this case, as long as I'm not doing this, which is going to create real tension here, then I don't really have to worry about it. My fingers are relatively open. In the left hand, I think it's dangerous. So you see a lot of people do this, and that can get you into trouble, especially with lengthy, repetitive, I guess, Alberti bass or accompaniment features. It can get really tight if you do this. So I'm compensating with a circular motion, with moving in and out on the keys, just to keep the fingers open and not tight, not curved. Release here, I think, is fantastic because, first of all, we have the same note twice. So I have to make sure that the pinky is going to move in and out on that D. So that's important to note. Also, there's a rest. So that really means that space has to be, let's say, cherished. We really want to feel that rest, and then another rest. So really make sure you release the note and don't do this. Let go. Then again, in the left hand, you see it much more because of these, this third, it repeats, and we all want to hold those notes down. So we're going to practice consciously letting them go, as opposed to, you can hear in the sound, it becomes a lot more tense. The last thing we're going to talk about is the speed of attack. Now, since this is a very, very simple passage, it's not going to require a lot of work to get that speed right, but since it's piano and it's dolce, I'm going to add a little bit of a slide, and I'm working on going to the key really, really super slowly, and especially on the dissonance and the resolution. If I slam, you guys can't see, but if I slam the thumb down, I'm going to get an accent. So I want to make sure that I go super slowly and then release even slower to the resolution. So that's basic technical analysis. We did the elbow motions, we did the rotation, we did the open fingers, we did the release, we did the speed of attack. In the left hand, if you want, I would press the 3 notes silently, just make sure I understand the depth of the key, and then just see how much energy I really need. Yeah, very, very little, very slow attack and very little motion to get those notes to sound beautiful. Yes, you're probably thinking, okay, I did all of that, that took 10 minutes, now I have the rest of the piece. It gets faster with time. You will gain the knowledge and understanding of what of those 5 elements needs more attention, what needs less attention. And again, I think the systematic adherence to these 5 frames and constantly going through them with each and every passage really teaches you a tremendous amount about how much motion you need. I should probably move the camera back up, but yeah, I want to show you the other difficult passage here with the third. What do you do here? So here you can already see that all of this is rotation and so on and so forth. So let's break that down. Elbow motion. Now I'm micromanaging right now. You probably don't see that much up and down. Just make sure the computer didn't die. Here we go. And so on and so forth. Rotation, active, passive, active, passive, active, passive. So there's a lot of weight transference here, the active passive between those 2 notes of the third. Open fingers, again, if I'm not, I want you to see, so if I'm not doing this, I'm not going to get locked. So all I have to do is just keep the fingers open, not flat, a little raised here in the knuckle, and so on. Release here is critical. If you're not releasing the note, you're going to get stuck. And of course, we see a difficult passage, we all get locked. Don't get locked. Think about releasing each and every single note. We're only connecting 2 notes at a time. And so on, and it looks like this. Regarding the speed of attack, I think, especially in the left hand, I feel it's very heavy right now. So I would work on slowing that attack in. In the right hand, I wouldn't worry so much about it just because it's a fast note passage, so the attack is going to be very rapid anyways. Maybe just not accent random notes, especially not the end of the phrase. Not to go too fast here, but... yeah, so that's an example of a faster note passage. Lastly, I'm going to just give you an example of where this can go wrong. In the next passage we have, it's... So what am I talking about going wrong? The elbow motion is just a descending scale, right? So all you have to do is just follow the shaping of the phrase and everything is fine. If we add rotation, it's going to be passive, active, 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 passive. So now you're probably hearing that motion, that active rotation on these notes creates a slight accent. Now if you want that, great, but if you don't want that, then you want to reduce the motion of the rotation and you want to maximize the overall shaping. In the left hand, there's just this gentle rotation. But yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is that again, the amounts here are critical. If you're going to rotate a lot, you're going to put more weight on each of the keys. The speed is going to be faster. You're going to get a slight accent. If you don't want that accent, then maximize the shaping and minimize the weight transference. Okay, I'm going to stop this video now. We're going to go to another piece in a different video, so I'll catch you guys later.